Ghanaians will from today no longer enjoy the free water services following President Akufo-Addo's directive to the Ghana Water Company. The social intervention, as you know, was to caution the public against the impact of COVID-19. As this intervention comes to an end, there are some citizens in the national capital who have been reacting. JoyNews' Annabella Ohenijan has more in this report.
Government will absorb the water bills for all Ghanaians for the next 3 months, i.e. April, May and June. All water tankers, publicly and privately owned, are also going to be mobilized to ensure the supply of water to all vulnerable communities.
President Akufo-Addo announcing that government will absorb water bills for Ghanaians from May to June 2020. It was part of COVID-19 relief for the people. The intervention was then extended until 31st December 2020. As the program comes to an end, the responses from water consumers have been varied here in the capital.
I wish it would stay because it has helped a lot of us, a lot. Like washing craft, I didn't go out and go and pay for it and then fetch the water. I just fetched it free and I'm using it and then everything is cool. So I think it's supposed to stay. Yeah. They don't have to cut it out. We beg them.
But were there days where you had challenges with the flow of the water?
Yes. Yeah, there were days. Like Friday evening, then it will stop coming, and then maybe Monday or Sunday evening, then it will start coming again.
If it help, it's no help. It's no help. Right now, see it right now. You just want it right now. Is it happening all right? See, it's not coming right now. So we're in the city. You know Osu? Huh. Yeah, it's Osu, right? I have to take my bag to fresh water in the Osu area.
It has helped us in so many ways. Personally, I'm able to bathe with 2 or 3 buckets of water now. The free water policy has helped us a lot, especially we the aged. The government has done well, but I was hoping they would end it after the new year.
My house is far from where the free pipe is, so normally I don't benefit from, because I can't carry my bucket, or my family cannot carry their bucket and then come and fetch where the water is. So I think they're supposed to do it where it will benefit from everybody.
I didn't enjoy the free water at all. I still buy water because the owner said she feared she will pay when the free water policy ends.
I'll face a problem.
At first, I'll be fetching it at Asundwe. But the free water is just behind my house, so if I cross the road, I can fetch it and then come and do what I want to do with it.
Well, while others say they didn't benefit from the free water policy, those who enjoyed this policy hope it stays a bit longer despite government's decision to end it. The multi-million-dollar question is whether or not this is sustainable in the long term. Should it be extended any further, especially when the Ghana Water Company has complained for years about the huge cost of processing water given activate of illegal small-scale miners. Annabella Ohenijan reports for JoyNews.
I want to hear from you. Did you, as they say, enjoy the water, the free water intervention? The number is 0540109009. That's 0540109009. Let me hear from you. I'm going to have a conversation on this, and I want you to join in. Joining me right now via Zoom is Stanley Mate. He is the Corporate Communications Manager at the Ghana Water Company Limited. I'll also have Ben Arthur, who is the Executive Secretary of Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation. Mr. Mate, Merry Christmas. As we're going into the new year, Happy New Year. Thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me.
Great. Mr. Arthur, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Great. Good afternoon to you as well, and same wishes to you. So great to have you both. Mr. Stanley Mate, I want to start with you. Can you, or has the Ghana Water Company Limited assessed the, let's call it the project so far?
Yes, thank you very much. I think it's been good so far. It's been very, very good. Consumption went high since the inception of the policy, and we've managed it in most areas. It was only in Accra that was a bit difficult, but even that one, I think it was smooth. In most regions, what happened was most of our treatment plants are underutilized. So if consumption goes up, we are able to up production to meet the demand. But in Accra, in Greater Accra and Ashanti region, and then in the Western region, for instance, because demand far outstripped supply within these three regions, it was a bit difficult to meet the high demand after the production went up. So we resorted to rationing. And I think the rationing rather solved the problem so that everybody had access to water. You also will recollect that we actually mounted over 700 water tanks within deprived areas in the country. So we and then we're filling them with water tanks, with water tankers, so that the consumers within a certain radius could go there to fetch. That also solved the problem. So far, for us, our assessment is that it's been very, 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 very good. We know there are challenges in some areas, but yes, there will be those challenges because those who didn't have water, or where the challenges were areas where we do not have our distribution mains. For instance, if it's a newly developed area and we don't have our distribution mains,
let's jump to Osu, for example, where in the story we just did, we had someone talking about he actually opened the tap and there was no water flowing at all. So some place like Osu.
We had this policy run over 9 months. Okay, so if you open your tap in a day or two, or even in a week, and you didn't have water, you can't say that as a result of that, you didn't benefit from the free water. No, because it ran over 9 months. Within the 9-month period, we expected that everybody benefited. Okay. And I can say on authority that every single Ghanaian benefited from the free water policy.
You can say on authority, you say. All right.
Yes, I can say that on authority, yes.
Let me bring in Mr. Bernah, who is with the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation. What is your own perspective to this particular intervention? Because the idea is that with water flowing, it improves our sanitation, doesn't it?
Thank you very much for having me. And let me correct this, that I'm not the Executive Secretary of CONIWAS.
Okay.
I'm a consultant in the wash sector, so
that's very well noted.
That is a correction I wanted to make.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes, fortunately for me, I did some work with CONIWAS trying to assess the extent to which people have benefited from the service. And what we saw on the ground, was that generally places where the infrastructure is not available, where the pipelines are not available, people are not benefiting from the service. So it's interesting, Stanley was saying that people have benefited. Yes, some people have benefited, but you can't see all the people of the country. Secondly, he's also coming from the urban sector, but we also have the rural sector. We're looking at the peri-urban communities where the infrastructure is not available. Yes, they have provided 700 tanks, but it's not in every community and area throughout the country. We went to a place like Olebu, Gonze, some places in the Gan Central and the Gan South area where the infrastructure, the pipelines are not there, the tanks are not available. People are still going through their old system of looking for water and buying from some of the vendors. Of course, went to a place like Mamprobi, where the service was there 24 hours, the tankers, in places where the water was not flowing, they provide tanks. So, yes, in some places people are benefiting, but it's not throughout the country. Even in Accra here, we have a situation where people have not benefited because the pipeline or the infrastructure is not available.
Was non-existent.
The tanker services are also not available. People are still buying water.
there was a bit of that the arrangements which said for those who did not have water, I mean, who already didn't have water, that there was supply of water through tankers for them to have access to water. Did your assessment not pick this up as well?
Yes, there were places that we went, like Gonze or Lebu area. The service didn't get to them. Even the tanker services, the poly tanks that they're supposed to mount were not there. People were not having it. In one or two places that we saw the poly tanks is also not filled. So for 3 weeks, people have not received the service. So that is the urban. In the rural communities, in the rural areas, it's not in every rural community that you have a borehole or a pump or pipeline. In this rural community, they still resorted to their traditional source of water, which is the dugout and the streams, which we all know the situation. So yes, it has benefited some. It seems to me that it's most places where they traditionally have the access, where it was increased, intensified. Then it expanded to a few areas where the polytowns could reach. So we try doing this, but I don't think we're able to achieve the target we're looking at.
Before we wrap up this conversation, I'd like to take your thoughts on how we could perhaps improve it next time if we were to do anything like that. But let me come back to Mr. Mate. Mr. Mate, I am sure that you'd want to react briefly to what Mr. Arthur has said, but what I want us to focus this part of the conversation on is the cost incurred in distributing this water or implementing this intervention. Mr. Mate, are you there? I think you are speaking, but you are muted. Okay, we need to get you to unmute and check the sound again. But Mr. Arthur, while we get Mr. Mate to unmute, what I want to find out from you is that people are asking for an extension. There are people who think that, well, let's get into the new year a little bit before you take away the free water. There are people who are making, who are saying we didn't benefit from it anyway. So, they're just indifferent. As a consultant in the wash industry, what would you suggest we did? Is it realistic to even say, let's carry this on a while longer?
First, it's not realistic because someone has to pay for the cost. I'm not sure even what Ghana Water and the Community Water has delivered. They have received a full complement of the payment from the government, and they require these resources, which is like the fuel for them to operate. So whilst we argue for sustaining the service, it's also not sustainable because one, Ghana government does not have the resources. CWSA and the Ghana Water Company also are struggling because we have not been able to pay them. They have to maintain the facilities. They have to procure logistics to enable them to perform. Therefore, I don't think, even if we want to extend, let's look at these issues on the ground.
Okay.
Secondly, we also extend at the expense of those who still don't have the service. What do we do with those people?
All right.
So for me, if we're going to continue, then let's find a way of extending to those who don't have. And secondly, ensure that the service providers are receiving what they have provided for.
Very well. Let me bring in Stanley again. I think I do have him now. Yes. The sound is good. So, Mr. Mate, I was saying that I'm sure you had a quick reaction to what Mr. Arthur has said earlier. But then I wanted us to focus a bit more on the cost. And he ended his second submission on the cost component as well. How much did it cost us?
Okay, so after today, we'll be able to cost the entire program because what happens is that we're not giving government absolute figures. We were giving them real figures. So we'll read the meters and then we'll send a bill to government to pay. So today being the last day, we are hoping that the last meter will be read today and then it marks the end of the free water policy.
But we
then
should have an
within
idea.
a week or two, we should be able to put everything together.
We should have an idea. Sorry, I get the point, but we should at this point. So if we have the final meter to read, to collate the, to put the figures together, we should have an idea how much, a rough idea how much it's cost us so far, shouldn't we? You should have that.
Yeah, yes, but I can't provide that now because I need to give you exact figures, okay? And every month the consumption goes high, so every month the bill is different.
Okay.
And so let's finish everything, put everything together, and then we'll put the data out for every Ghanaian to be aware of how the whole thing went.
Okay, so help me understand a little bit. I know you want to bring the hang on, Mr. Stanley. I know you want to bring the next point that you were making in, but just to clear, this is just a follow-up to what you just said. You said it went on for 9 months, right? There was the first, I think, few months, about 3 months, before it was subsequently extended. The first 3 months, do you have an idea how much it cost us for the first 3 months at least?
Oh, unfortunately, I'm not in the office and I don't have the exact figure with me. But we started with 60 million Ghana cedis a month. And then as of November, we had exceeded 100 million cedis in a month. And this December, the projections are that it's going to go higher than in November. So let us hold on. When we are done with everything in about a week or two, we'll hold a press conference and then we'll put out the outcome for the general public.
Have you received any intervention of sort? I mean, anything at all from government so far, or that's not how it works?
Yes, government has paid our bills up to October, and then we are hoping that November would be paid soon. We are yet to submit the bill for December because the last meter will be read today. Then in about 2 weeks, we will submit the bill to government. Okay. So the whole thing was like, there's an audit throughout the process. Okay, so if we read the meters in a particular month from the district will hand over to the region. The region will have to audit what the district has done before submitting to the head office. And then the head office will also do an audit of what the region has done. Okay. And then we'll also submit to the Ministry of Finance through our sector agency, the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. They will also do due diligence, and then based on that, they'll pay. This process takes about 3 weeks, and then government will take about a week or two to pay. So in all, we submit a bill, and it is paid in about a month, between a month and a half. Okay, so we have our payments up to the month of December, and we are hoping that November will be paid soon, and then when we are done with that of December, it will also be paid latest in February. And then everything goes on well. But so far, it's been good. Okay.
Is it realistic for the Ghanaian taxpayer to believe that this intervention has not impacted your ability to process water cheaper in any way? Because before this, you had indicated that activities of galamseyers or activities of illegal small-scale miners were having an impact on your ability to produce, the cost of production. So with this intervention coming in at that time, which was necessary, by the way, is it realistic for someone like me who pays tax to feel that we haven't really given you more problems than you already had?
I think there's no correlation between the two submissions. Okay, so they're independent on themselves, and we need to analyze them differently. Okay, so for us, the fact that government is paying everything in bulk, it's inures to our benefit. Because at the end of every month, if it's not government, then it means we have to be roaming around chasing people to pay advertising and doing all manner of revenue mobilization to enable us to collect our money. But if within a month and a half, government can pay everything in bulk and at once, then I think it's rather inures to our benefit. All right. So, and it has no impact also on the, or its impact on the cost of production. No, it has no impact on the cost of production because if, for instance, galamsey is ongoing, the cost of production will still be high even if government is paying all our bills. Right. You understand? I do. Yes. Okay. So that is why I want us to handle them independently. There's no correlation
it makes total sense. It makes total sense. There was a point that you wanted to make. I'm hopeful that you haven't forgotten, which I think was a reaction to what Mr. Arthur said. You might want to put that in now.
Okay, thank you very much. I think in his second submission, he did a bit of correction in that rural water is handled by Community Water and Sanitation Agency, and then GWCL handles urban water. And like I said initially, I can say on authority that every Ghanaian benefited from the free water policy in one way or the other. The policy ran over 9 months, and throughout the 9-month period, I am sure everybody had access to some water. You know that we mounted poly tanks, and then we will fill them with free tankers. And then even with private tankers who were selling water to consumers, what we did was to give the water out to them for free, so that what they delivered to customers and sold to customers was their services and not the water, because the water component actually is free. So although you are buying water from a private tanker, you are only paying for the services of that tanker, because one, that tanker will have to buy fuel, that tanker will have to work on, will have to take something on the depreciation on his vehicle, and then some profit for himself. But then the water component that adds up to the total cost, hitherto how you are paying will be different from what you are paying throughout the COVID era or the free water era. And it is because we were serving the water to these tankers for free. So yes, on authority, I can say that everybody benefited. Even if you were buying water in your home, you visited somewhere else and then consumed water for free. If you are even buying packaged water, okay, you are drinking, it was your choice to drink packaged water, but at least throughout the 9-month period, you were not only consuming packaged water, you were using packaged water in washing down, you were not using packaged water in washing your hands or cooking and other domestic chores.
I think
you used tap water from the Ghana Water Company Limited, which was free at the domestic level. And let us take note, at the domestic level. So even if you work in a commercial entity and you were paying in your commercial entity, when you got home, you consumed water through the taps for free.
Okay. So I get the insistence. I get the insistence on your part. I get the insistence on your part that everybody benefited from the water intervention, and the argument that Mr. Arthur makes is that they went on the ground to check with people, and there were times where people had, for it's not like the one day you indicated, like for 3 weeks.
Yes,
people didn't have water.
Admit.
And I just wanted to
admit.
Okay.
We admit. That water was.
Mr. Arthur, let him land with the point, and we'll bring you in. Yeah.
Yes.
Go on, Mr.
Yes. So we admit that water didn't run through everybody's tap through every day, 24/7 throughout the 9-month period. I indicated that in some areas we had a bit of challenges, okay, because consumption went high. So we had to ration water. Now, in the course of rationing water, people had water flowing for 3 days or 4 days in a week instead of the 7 days in a week. Okay, so if you got to a point where water was not flowing, it didn't mean that throughout the 9-month period, water didn't flow.
You didn't benefit. Okay, I get that side of the argument.
The taps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Martin, I get that side of the argument. Mr. Arthur, you wanted to say something. I want to bring in some of our viewers. Some of them have been sending us messages from their various locations and what happened there. Mr. Arthur, do come in on that, and let's try and wrap up afterwards.
Yes, I will still insist that it's not every place that the services reach.
So the argument he makes is that it's not like everybody, for those who didn't even get it, it's not across the 9 months. That
Mr. Arthur should know.
Okay, Mr. Mate, hang on for me.
We don't have our distribution mains
Mr. Mate,
in most areas.
Okay, Mr. Mate, hang on for me. I made you finish your point, so let him finish his point, and then you come back.
That's fine.
Yeah, come in and back up.
That is what I'm trying to say. There are the infrastructure, the distribution main, they are not reaching every place.
Okay, so the point he makes, Mr. Arthur.
And the point is that...
Sorry, Mr. Arthur, let me just clear this out. The point he makes is that there are people who may not have benefited, on a particular day, a particular week, or a number of weeks. But across the 9 months, certainly everybody has benefited somehow. Even for those who did not have the infrastructure, as you said, that they had, gone through with the poly tank and the tankers, so people, some way, somehow, each Ghanaian benefited across the 9 months. That doesn't seem to sit well with you.
Yes, because this place that I'm talking about, they've been buying water, the 4 gallon, 70 pesos, 80 pesos. So it's not an issue of 3 weeks, 2 months out of the 9 that they don't have water. It's a persistent challenge that they have. In fact, one of the officers, I think at the Eastern District, the east of Accra district officers, we talked to some of their staff there. We went to some of the communities for them to explain some of the things that is happening. So it's not an issue of 2, 3 weeks, 3 months, they've not have water. It is something that has been there.
Okay.
And when the free water thing came in, issue is still not addressed.
Okay, I want to bring in our viewers at this point. Mr. Marty, you can make your point
Can I make a point on this one?
Yes, I just wanted to quickly bring in our...
Just a quick one.
Okay, do make it brief
to benefit all of us. So, Mr. Arthur makes a good one point that I think I want to assert. In that, if, for instance, the money is channeled to the free water, okay, it's channeled into, let's say, extension of pipelines, expansion of our treatment plants. Yes, for everybody to benefit, or to have the water or access to water close to the person. Yes, that is a good point. But the thing is, government also did that based on a certain context, and we need to accept that. We can all fight that so that the Ghana Water Company Limited is supported so that we could extend our pipelines, expand our treatment plants, and all that, so that at least we all can meet our target of 100% access by 2030. And that is fantastic.
So I think the one key point for me there is that there is the need, or what this intervention has taught us is that there is a need to expand access, right?
Exactly.
By providing the necessary infrastructure. Okay, let me read to you some of the messages. This one says, we the people of Huni Valley did not enjoy the free water due to inconsistent flow of the water. Ebenezer Chinebua sent that one in. Let me read this one as well that says, frankly, the water rather benefited the rich and very low percent of the poor. In all, we had less than 30% of Ghanaians. I bet you we are going to pay it back from January 2021. My final comments from you both will be on the back of these messages. And let me take this last one. Zach in Ejura says, I connected water in February and I started enjoying the free water. But because it is free, the water company will deliberately lock the water more than a week before you get only 3 days. In fact, water company did not try at all. There are people who have praised you, by the way. We just don't have time to read all those messages. So final words from you, Mr. Arthur, yours first, and then I'll end with Mr. Marty.
I think that the intervention policy was a very good idea. I think the issue is the implementation in terms of what we've just discussed, in terms of the infrastructure reaching people and people having the access. Secondly, and I think probably what we have not addressed is the rural areas. What were the issues? Because if they don't have the facility at all, the infrastructure is not there, the borehole is not there, what were we doing for them? So going forward, I think because the way the COVID came, we did not actually sit down to go through all the rudimentary planning processes. So this gives us a learning platform for us to look at and probably do a kind of emergency planning and put in place, or put it there as and when some of these things take place, we bring it for implementation. I hope that the investment that Ghana Water and the community water requires will be provided to enable them to expand and improve on the services so that a lot more people will benefit going forward.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Marty, I'll end with you. In fact, some people believe that this free water will end up somehow paying for it in January. And most of them have sent me messages, but like I said, I don't have the time to read it. Let me take your final words on that.
Okay, so tariffs, for instance, are done and submitted to us by the PULC. So, and the PULC has its own way of calculating. Okay. For us as Ghana Water Company Limited, our input is only to submit our reports, and then based on the reports, PULC will work out the the tariff and sent to us. So I can't say anything that we may have to be paid or we will be paying for the water maybe in due course. I can't speak to that because we do not have that authority. But customers should be assured that government has paid or is still paying for the water that they requested that we supply Ghanaians to consume for free, and that has been well implemented. And the lessons that there is will also be taken on board, and then we will re-strategize into the new year and see how we can serve our customers better. I think so far it's been a good year for us because we've been able to supply even when demand has gone higher than we expected. And then government has also done well with its payment, and I think everything is fine. For people who do not benefit, those who do not benefit the way they expected, and I'm choosing my words very clearly, the way they expected, we will still apologize to you and hope that in the new year things are going to change. Now, there were others who connected to our division meetings without recourse to DWCL because it was a free period. And then there were people, especially opinion leaders, that parliamentary candidates at the time, and then opinion leaders like assemblymen, chiefs and all that, who just had plumbers to connect water for the communities to consume. Now it is over. We expect that they are going to come forward so that we will regularize those ones and meter them, and then they can pay for it. We'll give them a grace period for about a month or so, and beyond that anyone that we see will be seen as illegally connected, and that person will be dealt with according to the law. Our legal department is also compiling those who were owing prior to the free water policy and have still not paid. And such people will also be prosecuted after a certain grace period given. So we expect that all Ghanaians will support the JWCL so that we can also serve it better, because the little money that we collect in terms of revenue I've invested back into the system so that we can serve the general public effectively. So we expect the support of everybody, and we hope for a beautiful and a very good 2021.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time. Corporate Communications Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited is Stanley Mate there, and we also spoke to Ben Arthur, who is a consultant in the wash industry. So just a few takeaways there for you. The Ghana Water Company Service is looking to regularize those who did, connections just to get the free water. They said, come to them, regularize it, otherwise you're committing a crime. After a while, 60 million cedis have been paid so far in November. No, by November, 100 million had been paid. And December, we're waiting for today's bill to add that. So government will pay the Ghana Water Company.